There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
What's up, and welcome into the final week of the program roundup after the championships. I'm Patrick Hertzberger. Joined with me is Matt Gann, Mark Hall, and Mason Prince, and we are sponsored by our friends at the Fan Stop. If you're listening right now, you should go to thefanstop.com and join their Shirt of the Month Club. That means you get a t-shirt or a long sleeve or a hoodie every single month delivered to your door of your favorite college football team. They have over 50 schools, or you can go get a new game day polo using our promo code PGUYZ for 15% off. Guys, we're going to talk about obviously the college football playoffs today, but I wanted to open it up with one question. Yes or no answer. Give it to me. Did the College Football Committee get it right? Matt Gann?
No.
Mason?
Yes.
Mark?
No.
I'm going to say yes as well. Mark, why do you say no?
Whether your definition is best or your definition is most deserving, 13-0 is both. And I understand that we're upset about the quarterback. I understand that the playoff committee has every right to do what they did. I think for entertainment purposes, they did the right thing, but I don't know what Florida State has to do. Florida State has done everything right, and it's not like it's UCF from however long ago. This is a real Power 5 team from a real conference. I wouldn't have liked that outcome as a fan of football, but I think if you're trying to do the right thing, put the right 4 teams in, you have to have Florida State in the mix. That's why I think they got it wrong.
Mason, you said yes. What are your comments on that?
So I think they got it right for the reason that Mark thinks they got it wrong. I think leaving out Florida State was the correct move. I understand they're an undefeated team, but that missing quarterback, Jordan Travis, has to be a difference because we saw this team play a game without Jordan Travis. We saw them play 2 games, and they are not the same football team. And you are undefeated, and you deserve a bunch of credit for going 13-0 and winning an ACC championship. I completely agree with that. Have fun at a New Year's Six Bowl. You are not one of the best 4 teams in college football at this point in time. Were you with your quarterback? 100%, but you're not that team anymore. And they have to take that into account. They have it in their bylaws. They have it in their criteria process. They have to evaluate coaches missing, players missing to injury. All of that stuff goes into account when deciding. So yes, is it unprecedented? 100%. It absolutely is. It's also unprecedented for the penultimate number 1 team to be left out of the college football playoff, and that's Georgia. So this committee showing us that precedent didn't really matter to them. What mattered is finding the best 4 teams, and that's why I think they got it right, because I think they did.
Yeah. Comments?
Yeah, I'm with Mark. I believe games matter. What is the point of playing a season if you're going to go undefeated, be your conference championship? Because, hey, what have we said about the program? It's not just one guy that defines the program. This is a team game. And again, it is an injury to the most pivotal position. But Florida State's defense is one of the best in the country. They had LSU earlier this year. They put a smackdown on them earlier. They have good ranked wins. Obviously, it's unfortunate Jordan Travis went down to injury, but they still got business done. They're a conference champion of a Power 5 conference. This is absolute robbery. It's gut-wrenching for Florida State, for those players. I watched the video of them seeing the announcement that Alabama got in ahead of them. It's horrifying. This is highway robbery of a team that deserved to play for the crown. I get it. There are certain things that the committee is looking for. I also think the committee needs to switch up. I think it needs to be less athletic directors, more former coaches and scouts and players to make these decisions, because not even just looking at the college football playoff, but the other New Year's Six bowl games and other bowl games, I think OU got robbed of a New Year's Six bowl game. Maybe a little bit biased. I get it. But I also think the committee needs to do better. And this sets a really bad precedence for next year and the years following. But Florida State absolutely got robbed. This is why we do college football It's the best sport. This is horrible by the committee.
Yeah, we can definitely talk more about why the committee sucks. Here's my thing about the teams that they picked. I think they picked the best 4 conference champions in the country. And so that's why I'm kind of okay with it. And when you see the Michigan reaction in the room, when Michigan has to play Bama,
It's so
all those
funny.
kids are
It's
just
perfect.
like, oh my God.
Win goes
Had-
out of everyone's sails.
Yeah, and had that number 4 team had been Florida State, they would have been clapping and cheering. So that kind of tells you that the committee got it right too. I mean, in terms of who do
Nope,
you not want to
Not how it
play?
works.
Well, I know that's not how a lot of it. I agree with that, Mark. I think Florida State got screwed. They deserve to be in, but the eye test matters. The best 4 teams being in has to matter too. But also, why did Florida State play football this year? I don't know. I guess that didn't matter. Florida
Why does
State's
the
playing
ACC
football.
exist if winning it and going undefeated playing that conference doesn't get you a spot? Here's another thing. Just it's something that I thought about earlier today. To any of our roundup listeners that aren't regular pod listeners, maybe there's one of you. We're all Oklahoma fans. And if Jackson Arnold had come in at the end of the season and led us to an undefeated season, even if it didn't look good, we would be up in arms. We would be losing our minds. And I feel for the Florida State fans. And I think that the committee needed to put more weight into that than Patrick and Mason do. Like, it's just where we land on this. I think we all, 13-0 is insanely good. And also, Alabama beats Florida State in a football game. Like, both of those things I'm ready to say are true. I just think you needed to have them in because of the 0 next to the 13, the 12.
That was kind of my next point, was going to be kind of directed towards you, Mark. Like, if Michigan and Florida State are playing, what's that line? Okay,
Right.
and then tell me what the line against Michigan Alabama is. That's your answer, right? Like,
But
so
see,
if,
that's not why but I don't think that's how you get to your 4.
okay,
I don't think that's the right way to come to your 4.
and that's fair, and that's why this process is so convoluted and confusing, and it's never the same, and why Mike Leach had a really great rant a few years ago about why this whole process just a whole fugazi, and it like makes no sense no matter what they do. When in reality, automatic bids are the only way this problem gets solved. It's the only way. You have to get an automatic bid if you win your conference title, and everything else is at large. That's what it has to be. And people who think that what happened this year is not going to happen next year with 12 teams, I got bad news for you. The moment a 10, 11, or 12 seed like makes a deep run, this shit's going to matter a lot about who's 10, who's 11, who's 12. You think Liberty would get that 12 seed? You're insane. There's no shot, because people would be up in arms about it. There's no way. So it's I get that it's going to change and people may feel better. Oh, well, next year, like, it's going to be different. Like, not really. We're still going to be here a year from now talking about the same rankings, talking about how the 12th best team shouldn't have been in and the 13th best team should have.
I agree.
Like, that's what's going to happen.
Agreed. I think it'll amplify the problem even more. It's just going to be maybe, I don't know, maybe on a less scale because it's 12 instead of 4. But for those of you who don't know the rest of the rankings, or just the top 4 are Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. 5 is Florida State, 6 Georgia, 7 Ohio State, 8 Oregon, 9 Missouri, 10 Penn State, 11 Ole Miss, 12 Oklahoma. So those would have been the top 12 teams going into next year if we had the 12-team playoff. And that this year, I think, is right to me. What you can, I don't think Missouri being 9 and OU being 12 is right, but those top 12 are correct.
Yeah.
So it would have been an easy year for them.
So I want to know, I pose this question to the rest of the group. Everyone okay? Georgia not being in there?
Well, yeah. Mark, go ahead.
I don't like it.
I'm not okay with it, but
like
they did what they had to do. They had 6 teams, they had to pick 4. So like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you talk about what does Florida State have to do? I don't know what Georgia has to do. You're ranked number 1 in the AP poll for 15 weeks. You're ranked number 1 in the college football playoff poll 3 out of 5 5 weeks, and in those weeks you're not number one, you're number two. All you do is win, and you lose a game on a neutral site field to a very good Alabama team. And this committee, although not the same, has shown precedent. In 2017, Alabama didn't even make it to a title game. They lost to Auburn, didn't even win their division. They put Alabama in the playoff anyway, and Alabama won the national title. So, like, if I'm a Georgia fan, I'm really pissed. Like, I'm mad. Because, Matt, to your point, the game's got to mean something. In my mind, 29 in a row, back-to-back national champs got to mean something too. Like, that's the issue. But I understand 4 spots, 6 teams. People got to be left out, and they're not a conference champion. It's just, it's tough. I'd kick Texas out and put Georgia in a heartbeat, honestly. But that's just me.
I like that take. My thing with Georgia is they kind of hadn't, I said this in the past, you guys kind of disagreed with me. I feel like they had an easy schedule this year. I think Texas going in, Alabama going in, playing Texas early, having a good out-of-conference schedule really helped them. In the same way, it would have helped Florida State if LSU would have won the SEC championship. Then Florida State would have had to go in because Florida State beat them by 21 points at the beginning of the season. So those games do matter.
I also think you run into a problem where, you still want to put Georgia in, even though Alabama beat them. Texas beat Alabama. So if you're using the head-to-head as your criteria in that way, you have to use it in the Texas direction too. And that means you can't kick out Texas. You have to kick out Michigan or Washington. And I don't think you can't kick out Michigan. And there's no way you're dropping Washington after they beat Oregon in a game they're, the almost 10-point underdogs.
I had a strong case to make Washington the 1 seed over Michigan.
Sure. I would agree.
All you did was beat Iowa.
Yeah.
All you did was beat Iowa.
Yeah.
Washington went in and beat Oregon. That's a much stronger team.
Again.
So hard to beat a team twice.
Agreed. Matt, sorry. I stepped on your toes there. What's up?
No, I think all you guys make great points. Who knows what will happen next year with 12 teams entering the portal? These problems will continue. I just think the committee needs to be more consistent year in and year out with the criteria and how big of a weighted some of these criteria mean moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see years forward. I still think Florida State got robbed this year, but there's going to be, Mason, to your point, there's going to be teams every year that are going to get robbed of a potential playoff berth moving forward. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Before we get into it a little more, remember, we are sponsored by thefanstop.com, and we will be covering some of the bowl games this year too. After the big bowl games, we will be here at the program roundup. Thefanstop.com is amazing, guys. They have over 50 schools. So if you're listening to your school and what we're talking about your school about, you should go to their website right now and grab a game day polo or join their Show of the Month club for 15% off using our promo code PGUYZ. Mason, go ahead.
I was curious what you guys thought, and now I can't remember what it is, and that's upsetting.
Yeah,
because it was going to be a fun question for the group, and now I can't really remember it.
Mark, or Matt, do you have a question for the group while Mason thinks of his?
Here's my hold on real fast. So here's my thing is I'm a little perturbed by the way that the New Year's Six bowls were set up. And I want to throw the matchups at you and see what you guys think, how we feel about some of these selections. I think the easiest one, because it's a top mind for all of us, is the Cotton Bowl, right? It seems like the decision came down to, so obviously the teams in it are Ohio State and Mizzou. Oklahoma was in the running. Penn State was in the running. Ole Miss was in the running. How do you feel about the Ohio State and Mizzou matchup? Personally, I think Oklahoma would have been a stronger contender for that spot than Missouri. And I foresee Ohio State winning that game pretty handily, honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this goes back to the committee's criteria and the committee just sucking in the first place, is they value good losses more than valuing good wins. Oklahoma having better wins, beating 2 conference champions in SMU and Texas. And then there's Missouri that just has a better loss against someone like Georgia. And then OU having frankly bad losses against Oklahoma State and Kansas. And the committee judging that and giving Missouri 9 and Oklahoma 12. That's silly, especially when you look at this matchup, because Missouri is going to get rocked by Ohio State. Oklahoma, I don't think does. Oklahoma puts up a fight against Ohio State, especially in Dallas.
Matt, what do you think?
I don't know if Oklahoma, I mean, Ohio State is still a pretty good team, and Oklahoma's defense has not been that great the second half. It'd definitely be a shootout. There'd be points scored. I don't know if OU would.
I bet the defense shows up different after a week of bowl.
Totally.
But
maybe.
but
But
this
we
is
can,
not an Oklahoma
we can throw a
podcast.
bunch of hypotheticals out there and
Yeah.
say what we want. But again, there's just no consistency, I think, in the criteria for whether they pick the college football playoff or the New Year's Six bowl games. It just doesn't make any sense to me when you look at, Patrick, like you said, the wins versus the losses. What do they value more? What does OU just have to lose to better teams, I guess, to get into one of these New Year's Six bowl? It just doesn't make sense to me. Definitely some good matchups, but I think a lot of teams got left out either way you look at it.
I think all due respect to Patrick's Volunteers, but I mean, I'm looking at Missouri's schedule. You know, a win against Tennessee and a win against Kentucky are like what they hang their hat on. Like those are their quality wins.
Yeah.
And I love Mark Stoops as much as the next guy, but this Kentucky team wasn't that great. And Tennessee wasn't what we made them all out to be at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Oklahoma beat a team in the college football playoff. Oklahoma beat a conference champion in SMU. Like that to me is a better resume. I get the SEC moniker is going to mean something. That's why Oklahoma's going there. I'm not knocking that at all. But you look at Missouri's resume, it didn't really pop for me because, yeah, again, their wins, they got wins against Tennessee and they got a win against Kentucky. They've lost to LSU. They lost to Georgia. Who else they lose to? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. I had it right in front of me. They barely beat a not good Florida team by 2. Like, they steamrolled Arkansas, who wasn't any good.
Napier, I hardly know her.
Yeah. Beat Vanderbilt. Beat. I mean, no, man. It was. I think there were. Napier, I hardly know her. Are you still laughing at that? Or are you laughing at me?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. Continue.
Their entire schedule just wasn't that impressive.
To be 9,
Body of
absolutely
work.
not. Especially
No.
to be 9. Yeah,
No.
Mark,
Well,
what
I
are the
mean-
other games?
But I mean, for real, if you look 9, 10, 11, Mizzou, Penn State, Ole Miss, and then 12 Oklahoma, 13 LSU, I think you can just play with that list in any order and people will be upset. And you also can't tell them they're exactly wrong. So the 2 games on Saturday, December 30th, that we might want to zero in on is the Peach Bowl. That'll be that morning, 11 o'clock Central Time, if you're a Central Time homie like I am. Ole Miss and Penn State. This is another one where I don't think so. Oklahoma wasn't even in the running. We can't use the OU thing for this one. But boy, if you're the Peach Bowl, wouldn't you rather have Ohio State coming to Atlanta than Drew Aller, James Franklin, and what has become of the Nittany Lions here towards the back end of the stretch? That said, I don't think Ole Miss is good. So I think Penn State is probably going to win the football game in Atlanta, a virtual home game for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't think Ole Miss is any good. Like you said, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I have no idea who I would even pick in that game. Based on just what I've seen from the teams, I feel like Ole Miss definitely has more offensive firepower, but I've watched Penn State's offense the last few weeks and they look like Iowa. I think that was like their only big win was beating Iowa or something like that. So I don't think I don't know what this
They've
team
got those
has
good losses though.
Yeah, they have those
they've
good
got
loss against Ohio State and Michigan, right? But that matchup doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, sure, Ole Miss had a good year, but they don't have any good wins on their record either.
And
Did you guys see?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say same with Ole Miss. They've lost to Georgia and Alabama. They haven't beat anybody.
Did you guys see the press conference, which is so messed up, by the way? I want to go on record. Making Kirby Smart and Jay Norvell hop on, or Mike Norvell, sorry, hop on a Zoom Orange Bowl press conference like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. I don't care how long it is. The same day, hop on like a Zoom press conference for the Orange Bowl. Like those dudes want to be there.
F that. That sucks.
There's
some
so
incredible
dumb.
meme potential for the still shot that we've seen of just their two faces. Where,
Dude,
like, obviously
so...
neither of them are happy about what's happened to them. That's the one that the Orange Bowl later that night. That's the matchup between the 6 and the 5. And yeah, that blows. Just let both of those teams sit that one out. Neither team wants to play that. Both teams think they should be in the playoff.
I think it's going to be a lot of opt-outs in that game. I think there's going to be a good amount of opt-outs.
Yeah, that game truly doesn't matter.
Mainly on the Georgia side. I think mainly on the Georgia side with the amount of firepower they have, there's probably going to be some guys who are going in the draft who just are like, yeah, I've won 2 natties. I've given everything I can to this university. I don't need to try to give them an Orange Bowl. That's just what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I think Georgia will be favored by
double digits in that game, easy. Even though Florida State does have really good defense, obviously what we saw against Louisville, I think Georgia is going to swallow them up. But let's talk about the biggest New Year's Six bowl game. Come on, the next day, January 1st, the Fiesta Bowl, Oregon versus Liberty. The Liberty Flames winning their conference championship at home against New Mexico State. Hey, New Mexico State put it to Auburn just a few weeks ago. So who knows what Liberty and this team is made for. I think Oregon also might be like 15 to 20 point favorites in this game. Yeah, the New Year's Six bowl matchups just I don't think are going to be as electric as they've been in years past. I think they definitely could have meshed the matchups a little bit more, but yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to be that great this year to watch.
I don't think
Mark, you're the line expert here. If you could tell me a number, it wouldn't be big enough.
Right.
Like I'm hammering Oregon.
Yo, Bo Nix is playing too. It's got to be his last college football game. If that, it is. If
that number's under 30, I'm taking it. Like if it might, even if it's 31 and a half, I might take it. Like, dude, I think they're going to boat race them.
Okay. It's under that.
I know. I know. I know it will. It's not going to be like a buy game. Yeah.
What is it? You did by 15 and a half.
Hey, I was pretty close. I said 15 to 20. I said 15 to 20.
Just over 2 scores. You were right about there, Matt. I do think that line gets closer to 20 by the time kickoff happens.
That's what we call a tease. Mason's going to tease that to 24 and a half.
Mark, speaking of teases, why don't you tease our promo code a little bit, PGUYZ, for 15% off at the FanStop, and tell everyone a little bit more about the fanstop.com.
Well, oh my God, you know that you can always go use our code Guyz, PGUYZ, to get 15% off of your first 3 months of a 12-month subscription. That's a lot of numbers, but I promise you it's a good deal. At thefanstop.com for their Shirt of the Month Club. They have about 50-something schools in their rotation, and signing up for this is going to get you a t-shirt, a long sleeve, a hoodie, whatever the deal of the month is, sent directly to your door. Just right there. You don't have to go pick it up. You don't have to go shop for anything. They have cool designs. The shirts are stylish. They are comfortable. The hoodies feel really good, and they feel good on the inside. It's that stuff you want. Okay. It's not cheap material. It looks good, feels good, and you're going to feel good wearing it. So again, you should use our code Guyz. That's PGUYZ for 15% off of your first 3 months of the 12-month subscription, or didn't even mention this, 15% off of a game day polo of your choosing. Tons of schools on there. You should go check them out. I've seen these too. They look good, feel good. The nice fabric, right? I don't think it's like the official Nike fabric because you can't say dry fit, right? But it is a wonderful blend of good feeling stuff, and you can use our code PGUYZ, PGUYZ, to get 15% off. Pat.
Love it. Do you guys have anything else to talk about before we get into our predictions of this Final Four? And we can also predict some other bowl games as well, but let me know.
I want to hit on it. I want to hit
Hit on a few things. Washington, I think, out of their minds. I think Michael Penix played his way to a Heisman this past weekend, beating Oregon when Oregon were heavy favorites. I think Penix is going to win. It's between him and Jaden Daniels at this point, right, Mark?
Jaden
Is that
Daniels
what
no doubt.
you think Jaden Daniels is going to win over Penix after that performance? I guess I did see the odds are in Jaden's favor, but I think after that performance, you have to get the Penix. What else do you have to do? Go undefeated, throw for all those yards? What else?
That's good. Hey, Gan, this is good. Let's pick our Heisman winners now. Let's go ahead and do it, I guess.
Yeah,
Gan,
Michael
you
Penix.
have Michael Penix.
Yeah, Michael Penix. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Jaden Daniels has been the best player, but because of his record and what Penix just did this weekend, I'm going to go Penix.
Mark?
Drake Stoops.
That's a good one.
No,
Nice.
not really. I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels. He's been monstrous, man. You look at every. It's not his fault that Brian Kelly is his coach, and that defense is the defense. And you need to reward this kind of otherworldly performance. It is above what Joe Burrow did that one year. It is above what we had with Kyler, what Alabama had with any of their quarterbacks. It's above that. The just output that Jaden has had. I think you have to reward it. He's my Heisman.
Mason?
Yeah, it's Daniels for me. He, like Mark said, statistically the greatest like quarterback football season in the history of college football. And that's all I need. It's not a sexy year for the Heisman, right? Like no one's really, I mean, Penix is playing for a national championship, like trying to at least, but like, I don't know, does Penix really move the needle for you? You know, like is
Yeah,
he
without him, Washington is not in the college football playoff. You remove Penix,
I mean, that's fine.
he's the best player. LSU, they still had what, 3 losses on the season.
I think
Penix is
Mason's
the clear
point is
choice.
more like he's not sexy.
Yeah, like
Sure,
he's
I don't
not.
think any.
Right.
That's my point. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. LSU 4 losses, like that's not fun. But like Jane Daniels has been stupid, been like dumb.
It's truly the Russell Westbrook MVP year, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, cool. You were the thing on this team that worked. And for this single precedent shaking kind of season, we're going to reward that.
Yeah.
Because you're right. 4 losses, that's bad. That's bad news bears.
I can't wait to clip that. Give me also Michael Penix Jr. I'll stick with Gan here.
That makes me
winning-
nervous because Pat's predictions have been coming.
He's
right.
been
Like,
hot.
Yeah, he's been on a
I
hot streak,
hate
dude.
him.
13-0, man. It's got to mean something. And like, yeah, Jaden Daniels hasn't had the team around him, maybe not the coaching around him as well, but
I can guarantee he hasn't had the coaching.
yeah, we've
I can
been
guarantee.
saying that every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Michael Penix Jr., baby. Okay, Gan, you had a few other things to say. What else, baby?
Yeah, obviously a great win by Alabama. I also want to give a big win to Boise State, who fired their coach like 4 weeks ago, was not having quite the season, but ended up making it to the Mountain West Championship, winning and beating UNLV by quite a bit, 44-20. But also shout out to SMU, you know, an opponent that OU played earlier this year. SMU didn't even have their starting quarterback playing in that game, and they beat Tulane pretty handily, even though the score is 26-14. SMU was definitely the better team that game. And then how about Iowa not scoring a single point in the Big Ten championship? Mark, and maybe you can help out. I mean, was there over under like 2 points or something in that game?
It was
Score,
literally you could get the first half over under half a point, the second
That's
half
insane.
over under half a point.
that is insane.
Yeah.
It's
Insane.
embarrassing.
And
It's
truly,
embarrassing.
if you bet the under on both, you'd have won.
Yeah.
You'd have made money. It's
Mhm.
unbelievable that a team like that operates that way can make it to winning half of the Big Ten. to winning a full-on division in the Big Ten. With the erasure of divisions in the Big Ten next season, the Big Ten West finished 0-10 in Big Ten championship games because, as we have always known, it is just Ohio State and Michigan and the occasional Penn State. It has never been about what's going on out west. That conference is not the same as the SEC. And when it expands, the only one they're adding that's going to matter is Oregon.
Yeah.
Long term, the only one that's going to matter is Oregon. Tough places to be for the Big Ten.
Devil's advocate. USC
Insane.
will matter. Washington will matter.
Lincoln Riley flew out
to
visit. No, I'm just saying Lincoln Riley flew out to visit Will Howard.
I get that. I'm
That's
talking like 10
where
years down the
USC
road.
is.
I'm sure 10 years down the road, there's going to be a competitive USC against Ohio State.
I think they said that 10 years ago.
I was gonna say that, and also, hey son, don't you want to come play in LA? We travel to Rutgers in December.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys make valid points.
That's like, I don't want to push it that much. I don't buy it that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sad it's over. I'm sad college football is essentially over. You have a bunch of bowl games and you can enjoy the bowl games, and that's great. You know, enjoy the college football playoff. But man, like for us, it's I don't know, man. I look forward to it all year long, and you know, the old cliche, like it goes by so fast, but really it does. It just it really does. The bye week drags on. When your team's in a bye week, it feels like hell. And then as soon as you get out of the bye week, I feel like it's just a dead sprint and time just flies. And I'm going to miss it for sure.
And we're losing all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, Gan, did you have another fun fact or anything you want to talk about before we get
Hey,
into
what bowl
Go
game?
ahead.
What bowl game is TCU in, Matt?
They did not make a bowl game this year. I know that was a rhetorical.
Okay, no,
But
for
they'll be
real.
back.
That was messed
Sonny
up on my
Dykes
part.
has this team. They'll be on the up and up after OU Texas leaves. So
No,
they'll be
that's
back.
It's messed up. That's a technical foul. That's a technical foul on me. I didn't know. I literally thought they were bowl eligible. That's all.
I did too.
I'm sorry. I was gonna make a joke about the gate, like the Gator Weed Eater Bowl, but I didn't. And
Well, now it's even worse.
I'm sorry.
So I
I'm sorry.
appreciate
I'm sorry.
mentioning it.
Lauren, I love you.
Yeah, we love you, Lauren.
I'm sorry.
Pat, who does Tennessee? Where are they going?
I truly don't know. I haven't looked.
Wow. What a
Dude,
fan.
do you even care?
Do you even
Listen, guys,
volunteer?
We're going to talk about our squad. showing up
Iowa,
for
the Citrus Bowl.
Oh, I love that. I love that because Iowa can't score. So, like, Tennessee
Yeah.
will win that.
It's truly going to be like over under 18.5 points in that game.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about OU on the next episode of the Program Guys podcast.
Ooh,
Episode 100 coming up this
dang.
week. Regular episode 100. We've had more than 100 episodes, but like this is the regularly scheduled
Yeah,
program.
Mark has a big surprise. He hasn't
Episode
told
number
anyone.
100.
Yeah, Mark's got a big surprise for 100. He hadn't told anyone yet.
Did
Don't
you
tell
get
him,
that?
Mark. Don't tell him,
Did you
Mark.
get that? Did you get that package I sent you? Did you get
Did
it
you get it?
for the surprise? Did you get it?
Did you get it, Mark?
Did
you
I
get-
get it?
Nice. It's
Guys.
a banana hammock, folks, with Brent Venable's face on it. He's gonna wear it live on the show on Wednesday.
I just realized I won't be in episode 100. So that sucks.
You snooze, you lose. baby.
Okay,
You snooze, you lose.
Okay, so why not? We're already in it. Let's just talk about it. If you made it this far, stick with us. Patrick, just like literally make a video on your phone and send it to me, and I'll put it in the pod. Just be like, you know, whatever you want to say about 100 episodes, and I'll put it.
I'll
in.
do that. I'll do that.
Think about it.
Can't wait.
Think about it.
Grind.
Cool.
Or Gan. Do you still
Yeah.
have more fun Gan things to talk about before we hit the playoff?
No, that was it. Just a couple quick hits that I had for you guys. That's it.
I love it.
All
love
right. Okay. Do you guys want to go with who you think will be in the national championship? Or how do
I
you
think
wanna
we
do
run through each game. Like the
All
two
right.
games.
this? Okay. Michigan against Alabama. Mason, who you got?
I think Alabama wins that game. I
Matt.
think it's.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, go. I just think Alabama wins.
Matt.
Mark, what's the line? Is Alabama favored in that game?
It opened as a pick, and now Michigan is favored by 1.5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I feel like the way
Same
Alabama's
thing.
playing, I'm gonna go Michigan here. Think they're a better overall team. Yeah, I think they're a better overall team.
Mark?
I worry about Jalen Milroe going against Michigan's defense. I think Michigan does have a legit defense, but I am still taking Alabama to at least cover 1.5, and I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit of moolah on that plus if it gets any higher. I think that's a good thing. I also have Alabama plus 600 to win the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it might actually be smarter to hedge in some kind of way, but we'll figure that out down the line, guys. I
Absolutely.
think Alabama is playing better
Talking
in
it out.
general, but the quarterback is so important, and Milroe against that Michigan defense is absolutely the matchup you have to watch.
Yeah, I've got Alabama as well. I don't trust this Michigan offense, and I think the Alabama defense will be able to just suffocate them, man. They're so physical. They're so fun to watch, and I think Milroe can beat this Michigan defense. Mason, any comments on that game?
I think the teams are pretty well matched. So to me, it's going to come down to a battle between game plans and who has the better game plan. And if you're asking me who's a better game planner, it's going to be Nick Saban. So I'm going to take that's why I'm taking Alabama.
Yeah.
Because I think Michigan is a really good football team, and I think Alabama is equally as good. So I think it is going to be a close game. I don't think Alabama blows them out or anything like that, and I think it's going to be close. But what I've seen out of Jalen Milroe in the back half of this season was literally all Alabama needed to be like really good,
In the playoff.
and he's proven that like.
Did we lose Mason?
Turn the ball over, and I don't have to throw for 300 yards. Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback.
Hey, Mason, you broke up
freeze?
there for a second. Can you talk about like the last part again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of great stuff from Jalen Milroe in the back half of the season, and that's why I buy Alabama, is because if he can just play like he's been playing and not turn the ball over, like Alabama wins this matchup 8 times out of 10. So.
Good way to put it. Yeah. I also, thinking of like another good matchup, I think Texas and Washington are a good matchup as well. I think if it was reversed and Texas was playing Michigan or Washington was playing Alabama, the matchup wouldn't be as good. That's my opinion, at least. But my prediction for Washington, Texas is Washington rolls over Texas. I know Texas is a decent football team. I get it. But Washington is a complete team. Quinn Ewers is nowhere near Michael Penix Jr. The Texas defense isn't, I don't think, near Washington's defense. I think Washington has this game handled easily. Mark, what are your thoughts?
I love your enthusiasm. Washington is a 4.5 point dog right now. I actually like them with getting 4.5 points, but this is in the Sugar Bowl. That's a home game for a Texas fan base that is horny for a local playoff game.
Yep.
That's basically what they're getting here. And I saw a tweet earlier, $600 tickets to the Cotton Bowl or to the Sugar Bowl and $1,000 plane ride from Seattle to New Orleans. Ain't going to be any Huskies fans there.
It's messed up.
Not going to happen. You're going to see the Sugar Bowl be burnt orange all throughout. I think that on a neutral field, in a real neutral field, probably Washington pulls it out. I think that Texas, especially if they're down Xavier Worthy, is a little more. There's just more variance with that team than I really want. I don't trust Quinn like I probably should trust Quinn at this point. I don't, without Worthy, trust all of their weapons. Like Jonte Cook has made some plays, but he'd have to be filling in a big way, right? And outside of their defensive tackles and a couple of their linebackers, I don't know about the defense against Michael Penix Jr. and that army of receivers. But again, it's going to be a home game. So I think Texas pulls it out.
Mason?
Sadly, I think Texas wins. I want them to, but I think they do. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be like 45-40 and Texas pulls it out. I don't think there's going to be a ton of defense because I do think Washington has the horses to put points on the board. And obviously we know Texas on the offensive side of the ball has the horses to put points up as well. So I really think it's going to be a high scoring affair, like into the 40s and 30s, but Sadly, I think Texas pulls it out and we get an Alabama-Texas rematch in the national championship.
Yeah, and I did hear that Xavier Worthy is okay. So I don't know what that means, but Sarkisian said he's okay.
Sarkisian said that ahead of Texas being announced in the playoff, and I think that he was trying to lobby. I think he was trying to basically avoid what happened with Florida State, right?
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean it's. I hate that coaches are
Smart.
forced to be so political about it, but it's absolutely the position to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ken, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Mason. I just think it'll be the other team. I think it'll be a high-scoring affair, not a lot of defensive play. I think there'll be a lot of fireworks in the Cotton Bowl, and I think Washington will pull it out. I just trust Penix and, like Mark said, the receivers and that offense. From what I saw against Oregon, Oregon is a very, very good defense. If that's what Michael Penix, who went over for 300, completed over like 65% of his passes, and led that team to a victory. He made some just absolute darts of throws. I think he'll be able to expose the Texas defense. But I agree. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else from those games, guys? I mean, we'll be covering them in January 1st or January 2nd, I'm sure.
Oh,
We'll be there.
We'll do lead in. We'll do review. We'll do
Every step of the way.
We'll do it all, baby.
We'll be there every step of the way, man.
All right. Well, I think
MVPs.
that's Mark.
MVPs.
MVPs of the week. But before MVPs of the week, remember to go to thefansup.com. The link is in the description of this video. The link is in the comments of this video, and use our promo code PGUYZ. That's P Guyz for 15% off their Shirt of the Month Club for the first 3 months, or 15% off their game day polos. If you're listening to this, your school is most likely there because they have over 50 schools. MVPs of the week. Mark Hall, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with quite a surprising choice here. The Texas fans who stuck around specifically to chant SEC at Brett Yormark, who was visibly shaken by the experience. I hope that he's okay. You know, he didn't look like he was having a good time. But man, good on them for keeping that dude honest at the end of that game. The WWE stuff looked goofy. The Big 12 has been poorly run all season. The tiebreaker stuff was a nonsense occasion. That's stupid. It turns out hiring a guy because he's friends with Jay-Z years ago is not the way to do things. So I'm very glad that we're getting out of this conference, and shout out to those Texas fans for letting him know we are ready to leave. Texas fans that stuck around to boo Brett Yormark, my MVP.
Love
I'm sure that Brett Yormark nuzzled in Undertaker's breasts and had a little cry after that.
Dude, he was so
Taker there to compose him.
Yeah, he was so shaken.
Oh, Sark had to give him a pat on the back and be like, "Oh, we like you." Like, what the hell?
Dude,
such a girl, or
if
not
Sark,
a girl.
and
a
honestly,
baby.
Hey, it just means more.
Yeah,
it just means more, baby.
If Sarkisian didn't do that, I mean, I don't know, man. Good on Sark for being the bigger guy in that situation. But Brett, like, he literally couldn't talk for 30 seconds there. He was not what he wanted to say and what he said were two different things, because he just was trying to get the hell out of there after the SEC transfer started.
Please.
He's like, I'm sorry, my bad. Matt, who's your MVP of the week?
Mark hit on the head earlier. It is Iowa and the Big Ten West as a whole for going 0-10, and Iowa not scoring a single point. I watched that game and just wanted to scratch my eyes out because Iowa is so bad. Iowa's head coach also had a stipulation in his contract that Iowa needed to average like 30 points a game this season to keep his job. And I think they didn't even get more than like 15 per game. Probably.
I'd be shocked if they hit half that. Yeah.
It was. I thought it was the offensive coordinator had 25 points average.
Yeah. One of the coaches, whoever it was, but it's Iowa. It's the Big Ten West, which has to be like the absolute worst division in all of college football, even though that will be going away. But Iowa not scoring the point, and the Big Ten West going 0-10 and Big Ten championships. LVP.
Mason?
Nick Saban beat the number one team in the country for an SEC title game. You lost to Texas early in the year at home. Your quarter was a question mark for the first half of the season. You had to weather that storm. You figured out that Jalen Milroe could be used and how to use him effectively. You go back and you beat the number one team in the SEC title game. You weather the storm in the rest of the SEC. That's why Nick Saban's the GOAT. He's the greatest college football coach of all time, maybe the greatest football coach, period, point blank, of all time. We should enjoy this, like everybody tells you all the time to enjoy the LeBron James era, enjoy greatness while you're watching it, enjoy Tom Brady. I feel as though we need to enjoy this while it's still here, because, man, all due respect to Nick Saban, he looked old in that press conference yesterday after the game, man. That he's not a young pup. And I'm sure he has a lot of years left in him, but it's not going to last forever. So Nick Saban, my MVP.
Yeah, Nick Saban was also my MVP, but for content's sake, I will go with Washington, because we all thought Oregon, except for me, we all thought Oregon was going to beat Washington, and beating a team back-to-back as good as Oregon is very impressive. So my MVP of the week, Washington. Remember to go to thefansup.com, use our promo code PGUYZ for 15% off their Shirt of the Month club for the first 3 months, or 15% off their game day polos. Guys, anything else before we close it out?
It's been fun rounding up the regular season.
It has.
We'll be probably a little bit more sporadic with bowl game releases on this one, but it has been a great time rounding up the regular season. So shout out to everyone for circling. Never mind. That's the other thing we have.
Rounding up the program.
Rounding up with us.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? All right, Mark, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being